Welcome back to the best Dominion cards list. We're at part 19, the cards costing 6 or more. This is a big part with 16 cards instead of the usual 10 or 11 that I have had put on each part. So let's get right into it. Rank 16 Adventurer from the base set. Again, it was pretty clear. Adventurer is still the worst card in this list. It was voted last 44 times, that's 80% of all votes. It has also the second lowest deviation in this list. By all means, Adventurer is no bad card, but all cards costing 6 or more have the problem competing with gold, and Adventurer is only superior to gold in decks without copper, and even 5 costing cards like Harvest or Merchant Ship can give you 4 coins easily. The filter effect is nice and finds still 2 treasure cards if you are already heavily greening, what is especially good with platinum. But the same does Venture, you see the name similarity, without spending an action and for 1 coin less. So most of the time, Adventurer is just overpriced, but can be nice in a Jebel deck with no better alternatives. Rank 15, Farmland from Hinterlands. Farmland is still second last. It was voted last 4 times and has only 2 votes above average. It lost quite a bit in points this time. Farmland is definitely no power card, but still should be considered as a good buy in a handful of situations. At first it seems weak as it's more expensive and gives less victory points than a duchy. But the on-buy remodel effect can be very handy. You really have to calculate the benefits. If you have 7 coins, you can remodel a copper into an estate, but then it would be better to buy a duchy for the same victory point amount. For 8 coins you could buy a province directly, but if you're behind and there are only a few provinces left, just remodel a silver into a duchy for 5 victory points. And for 9, Farmland is like an extra buy if you remodel a gold into a province for 8 victory points total. In the middle game you even may prefer Farmland over duchy, because with a farmland in hand you only need 6 and a farmland in hand to get a province. Then Farmland is like a pseudo harem, as the remodel effect is like the +2 coins harem gives you. Especially nice is Farmland in cursing games. For 6 and a curse in hand, Farmland is worth 4 victory points. There are even more nice situations like getting 2 victory cards in Silk Road games or trashing a potion to get a gold. Rank 14, Harem from Intrigue. Ignoring the new Dark Ages cards, Harem is also on the same rank as before. It has no last rank, but 6 second last ranks. It was voted 9 times above average. Like all cards in this list, Harem is by far no bad card, but it's another card that's not really game dominating. Especially in big money games where you rarely need more than like 2 goals, you can pick up easily Harems in the mid game if you still fall short for provinces. This gives you -1 victory point in comparison to duchies, but you still will see this harem like 2 or 3 times to make it worth a buy, and give you enough money to win the province split or make the 2 victory points difference to win the game. Harem is also nice in Silk Road games and in combination with Horde, where you don't buy gold, just buy a Horde and then harems, or Mine, where you can mine early silvers into harems, and Mince to get extra money and victory points at the same time. But in colony games, for example, harem is really ignorable, because neither silver nor 2 victory points are worth a buy. Rank 13, Expand from Prosperity. Expand is on the same rank as last time too. It has 3 votes on the second last and 13 votes above average. Although the rating went up, the median is much worse than last time. Expand is a mix between Remodel and Mine, but is another card that has a drawback of being very expensive. So if you want to trash treasure cards in the late game for victory cards, Remodel manages that too for 3 coins less. If you want to trash treasure cards for better treasure cards, Mine does it even better for 2 coins less. Its best use is to trash victory cards for better ones, or 5 cost actions to victory cards in the end game. This is especially nice in colony games. With 2 expands you can start winning earlier and even buy provinces to expand them later into colonies for a benefit of 4 victory points. And if you have a good drawing engine, this works even better. You only need 1 copy to expand a card into a better victory card each turn. And expanding peddlers into colonies may be its strongest combo. Rank 12, Forged from Prosperity. Forge was better than Expand by only 0.1 percentage point this time. It is the card with the highest deviation in this list again. On one side it has 2 last ranks, but on the other it was voted second twice. It has 14 above average votes. Forge is really hard to evaluate because it highly depends from the cards on the board. Forge is like a much better Jabble because you can quickly trash many cards out of your deck and get an additional benefit, but has 3 big drawbacks. First, it's too expensive. If you get to 7 coins, you mostly can't heavily trash anymore because you have too many cards in hand you want to keep. But with cards on the board that give you 7 coins early, like Baron, Apothecary or Tactician, Forge is really strong. Second, Forge needs big hand sizes to be really worth it, comparing to other trash for benefit cards. Cards like Apothecary or Tactician accomplish this too, but if you have good draw engines, a Forge may also worth a buy to trash a few cards for a late province. But with discarding attacks, Forge is really weak. Third, the term exactly and the obligatory gain makes Forge swingy. With Forge in hand, heavy calculating goes on. If you just want to get rid of cards like coppers or estates, you often have to gain at least 1 copper or an estate, or another card you basically don't want. Only if you manage to reach 10 coins where no card exists, you get rid of those. And if you want to forge a province, you often draw the wrong cards, for example only treasure cards. So the summary, you really have to consider if Forge is a trap or worth a buy, like in Torch Rare engines where you can simply trash all curses in hand to forge them right away. Rank 11, Fairgrounds from Cornucopia. Fairgrounds is the next card which stays where it was. It has the second highest deviation in this list. It was voted 15 times above average, but still 2 times last. Copper, silver, gold, estate, duchy, province and fairgrounds, and you have already 7 different cards. With 3 more cards, every fairgrounds is already worth more than a duchy. Especially in cursing and potion games, this is easy to accomplish. This is still making it a mediocre card, but in games where you have many cantrips and a good source of buy, fairgrounds can be really strong. Just buy 15 out of the 19 different cards and every fairgrounds is worth 6 victory points like a province, and this for 2 coins less. And with black market on the board, it's even easier to get 15 or even 20 different cards and maybe the board determining combo. With Dark Ages, Fairgrounds got a huge boost. With Shelters you need 2 unique cards less, and in games with Looters you might have to ignore them because the ruins might only pump up your opponent's Fairgrounds. Also Knights offer a lot of uniques, and Spoils or Masonry from extra piles are also extra uniques you might want. Rank 10, Bank from Prosperity. And Bank also stays where it was. Its median is much higher this time, it has 1 last rank and 1 high outlier. Bank's value really depends from the board. Bank is dependent from big hand sizes and plus buy. On an average board, especially big money games, Bank is mostly worse than gold. While 3 golds allow you to buy a province, 3 banks don't. So it can really be a trap card. But with a draw, it can also be better than gold, for example 4 coppers and a bank instead of 4 coppers and a gold. And with the addition of plus buy, it can be incredibly powerful. Wargrave or Wolf big money with bank is great, and in combination with Tactician or Apothecary and Herbalist or another plus buy, bank is really powerful. In colony games, Platinum is still stronger in almost every situation, but still, bank is no bad card in colony games and just depends of above mentioned scenarios. Rank number 9, Horde from Prosperity. And here is the first change. Horde is the biggest loser in this list, over 7 percentage points worse and 1 rank worse than last time. It also lost a lot of agreement. It was even voted first once, but also second last. In the unweighted ranking it would be 1 rank higher. Horde is really good if you play it right. If you use it to buy a victory card every time you have it in hand just to get a gold, this is maybe not the right play, because then your money average approximates to 1.5 coins, what isn't enough for a province and is even worse in colony games. But you want to green eventually, right? Then adding golds while greening is really good. Your deck doesn't clog up too much and you may keep buying provinces or at least duchies until the end of the game. So if you pick up a Horde after your first gold in big money games, you can go green pretty early. Horde also is good if you use the free gold for trash for benefit cards, especially Apprentice. Just trash a gold with Apprentice, buy a province with a Horde in hand to get another gold, and do the same in the next turns over and over again. Horde works also nice with dual type victory cards, especially Harem. Ranked number 8, Hunting Grounds from Dark Ages. Ranked right in the middle is the first of the two new Dark Ages cards. It's also not only ranked in the middle, it has also a nearly exact 50% rating. It would be one rank higher in the unweighted ranking. Hunting Grounds is the best draw without any disadvantage or condition in Dominion. It's simple, but does well what it should do, drawing a lot of cards. It's solid in big money, but for 6 coins it competes directly with gold, and mostly you draw way more than you need for a province. And as you only have one buy, I rather have Wharf for big money strategies. But in engines, drawing 4 cards is great, and even with weak trashing, you can build a pretty decent engine with it. With good trashing, this is even better, as you will easily draw your whole deck with it. The trash ability is also neat. I think I've never took 3 states over a duchy, because in those cases where it would matter, like Gardens or Silk Road, 6 coins is often way too expensive for a Hunting Grounds. But getting a late extra duchy when you try to catch up with your mega engine is pretty cool. Tricks like buying a farmland to trash a Hunting Grounds for a province and a duchy for 11 victory points total, or just use any trash for benefit card on it is a great extra. Rank 7 Nobles from Intrigue. Nobles is 1 rank better and has more agreement this time. It would be 2 ranks lower in the unweighted list. Nobles is often a trap card. Yes, Nobles is a self-working combo when you use it for 2 actions and 3 cards alternating. But 2 Nobles still give you only a +1 card bonus, what 1 Laboratory gives you 2. So a big money player is going to outrace a Noble Engines player, it's just too slow. But there are still many occasions where Nobles are nice. As long as you don't use Nobles as your main village, an engine player can incorporate Nobles as a good draw while picking up some points and not fall so far behind to a big money player. Yeah, getting points while still building your engine can be huge for an engine player, as he may need 1 to 2 provinces less to catch up in the end. And if there are other cards that let you get Nobles faster, like Quarry, it makes them even stronger. However, in colony games, the 2 victory points from Nobles are often ignorable, or at least less important. Rank number 6, Altar from Dark Ages. Altar is the better ranked Dark Ages card, but it has a pretty high deviation with 2 votes on the last rank. 5 costing cards are key cards in Dominion, and the ability to trash cards independent from cost and turn them into key 5 cost cards is really big, especially for any sort of engine. An early 6 on an engine board with Altar is really strong. Also, you have the ability to use it later in the game to gain duchies, something you shouldn't underestimate. It also combos well with cost reduction like Highway, which you can also get from Altar, to even gain provinces with it. Of course, it highly depends on the board. If there are no good expensive cards to get in masses, then Altar isn't that interesting, but you might get one only for the duchy gain ability, but which is also less useful in colony games, for example, of course. Rank number 5, Peddler from Prosperity. Peddler is on the same rank as before, with much more agreement and a slightly worse ranking. Peddler basically doesn't belong in this list, similarly to Duchess, because you almost never spend 8 coins for a Peddler, as its effect is only worth 4 coins. So if you spend 6 or 8 coins for a Peddler, this was mostly a waste. But in games with many buys, like red markets, worker villages, market squares, or pawns and hamlets, you can easily pick up peddlers for 0 or 2 coins. Getting many peddlers in one turn can be a pretty big boost to your economy. Peddlers are also good in combination with duration cards, as they count for price reduction in both turns. But it is in this list, and it is so high in this list, because it really shines in combination with treasure benefit cards, and then its cost shows to advantage, e.g. like above mentioned, expanding it into a colony. As it is the only card for 8 coins, it's also worth mentioning how it works with Swindler. As long as there are still peddlers left, there is a danger that it gets swindled. But when the peddlers are gone, you have a great defense against Swindler. Another quick note, beware of free piling in peddler games with buy. Rank number 4, Border Village from Hinterlands. We're making a jump of over 9 percentage points, and Border Village is still on rank 4, but has a pretty low percentage value for a card ranked on 4, which shows the strength of the upcoming top 3. It has still some pretty low votes, but 17 votes on 80% shows that there's no doubt about its high rank. For every good engine, Border Village is excellent. Especially if you have 6 coins and there are strong terminal cards costing 5 on the board, you want that 5 cost card anyway, you get a village for free. Do this a few times and you basically are guaranteed to have a village in each hand. The uses are similar to when you want many fishing villages, for example. Border Village plus Torturer is maybe one of the strongest combos. Still, this is in strong competition with gold. It's really a trap in cases where you want a money-based strategy. Especially with the first 6, you often rather buy a gold than a Border Village in most cases. Border Village is also very good in boards with Treasure Benefit cards, because for every 6 coins you can buy a Border Village and the Treasure Benefit card. Later you can trash the Border Village for 4 victory points with Bishop, 6 cards with Apprentice, 6 coins with Salvager, or remodel it into a province, etc. etc. Border Village Grave Robber is also a great combo because you never run out of fodder for grave robbers. Rank number 3, Grand Market from Prosperity. Now is the big jump. Over 16 percentage points better than Border Village is Grand Market. After the big drop last time, it gained back a little bit of points. It's nearly 5 percentage points better with no votes in the lower half and 3 first ranks. But still the gap to the top 2 is really big. Grand Market is basically a card costing 8 or 9 and is the dominating card on many boards. Often it's basically a race to get the first Grand Market faster. And with the first Grand Market you can easily buy more of them. You achieve that at best with Vault or any source of virtual coins like Baron or Horse Traders, and of course with gold. Grand Markets are very powerful, but still there are situations where it's just too slow to pick them up because of its restriction, and it's really a trap card. Other strategies might be just quicker. They are great in nearly all decks, but Grand Markets really shine in thin decks where you can chain them. Then they are even better than Platinum. The same applies in combination with King's Court. But in colony games with heavy cursing or other thick decks, Platinum is still the stronger card. Rank number 2, Goons from Prosperity. Another jump of nearly 9 percentage points and we are now in the top 2. Goons is second again and has won a lot of consensus with its really low deviation. But it's still only the third lowest in this list. It was voted 14 times first and all voted it in the top quarter of this list. Goons is a strong and board dominating card nearly every time. Yes, it gets quadratically better the more Goons you play per turn, so it gets big profit from good drawing engines. But is still great if played alone because of the discarding attack. It's also the only attack card that is so strong that it needs to cost more than 5. So you have a militia that nets you victory points for cards you would have bought either way. Great. In the later game you can pick up additional victory points for cobbers, and with a watchtower in hand you can even immediately trash them. And if you have that needed actions and set up a really nice engine with Goons and manage to play 3 or more Goons per turn, it's so insane powerful. You can achieve easily 100 or more points. Also, a Goons engine has more time for setup as you don't necessarily need to buy provinces or colonies. For clarification, King's Court and Goons does triple the VP gaining effect, but you can get the extra money and buys you can use for more victory points, so it isn't a so bad combo after all. Yeah, especially if you have another King's Court and a Masquerade in hand. And we just talked about it. Rank number 1, King's Court from Prosperity. Yeah, no doubt about it, King's Court is the best card in this list again. 37 voted it first and basically no really bad vote, so it has clearly the lowest deviation in this list. Just like Goons and Grand Market, when King's Court is on the board, there's nearly every time a race who gets it first with cards like Tactician, Baron or Apothecary. Throne Room does nothing for itself and just doubles the action, but still is often skippable. Tripling an action seems like no big difference, but it is a huge boost. If you triple a cursor, the game is basically over. If you triple a card draw like Wharf, it's really crazy. And with Possession or Saboteur, it could get really mad. With King's Court, you also need no village, just triple a cantrip for a huge benefit, especially if it's Scheme. And with King's Courting a King's Court, it gets even crazier. Maybe only in province boards that are already very quick without King's Court, or have only terminal non-curse givers, you may skip it. PS, for everyone who has the same problems as I calculating the actions you may play 3 times, For every king's card you play on a king's card, you can play 2 more actions 3 times. Or if you prefer a formula, 2n-1. Thanks again for watching. The series now is getting close to its end, finally. I'm happy that you still stay tuned, and I appreciate all feedback. Until the next time, where we have a look at the potion cost cards. So, see you later. Until next time. Bye.